While Tundra's TI-11 victory is still fresh in our minds, there are penguins once again being held hostage in anticipation of the next big patch. The first major of this year's DPC season is finally here, but with so many roster changes and new names being present in comparison to last year's International, you just might be a little confused. Who are all these people and why should you give a shit? To answer this question, I will give you an introduction to every single team that's playing in the Lima Major, so that you know exactly who you should be cheering for at this event. Now, let's get into it. Team Liquid. They just might be the scariest team in the world right now. Already coming off an impressive third place finish last TI, this season, Team Liquid looks like they have ascended to an even higher level. Having picked up Nisha as Matumaman's replacement, they have been unstoppable in Western Europe, and they haven't lost a single series in what is regarded as one of the strongest regions in competitive Dota 2. Oxy has been winning teamfights 1 vs 4 by stealing every ultimate he can get his hands on with his Rubik. Zai and his Broodmother have quickly become every carry player's nightmare, while Mickey makes farm appear out of thin air with his machine gun called Lena. And even if Insania misclicks during the draft and accidentally picks Gyrocopter again, Team Liquid will probably still destroy their opponents. And while Tundra might have won last year's TI, it was Nisha who was regarded as the best player of the tournament. Now, with a new team in a new season, it's time for the Polish mid lane maestro to show the world that he is still the best. Standing in the way of all of this though is Team Liquid's history of disappointing LAN results, as last season the team looked equally impressive online at times, but can never replicate the success on LAN. They would come into tournaments as one of the favorites, but would consistently fail to live up to these expectations. If Team Liquid wants to surpass their reputation for slipping up on LAN once and for all, a top 4 placement in Lima is necessary. Gaimin Gladiators. With Western Europe being seen as the strongest region at the moment, it is no surprise that the second place team from that region is being regarded as a major threat. Having swapped out their coach and mid laner, Gaimin Gladiators looks like they have returned to their scary performance from the start of the last season. Especially the inclusion of NA superstar Quinn Callahan has inspired the Gladiators to reach new heights, as they are now able to go toe-to-toe in even the hardest mid-lane matchups. Quinn has been able to guide the team to some top performances. And while their drafts don't always look as clean, their inexperience sometimes make them lose out on games they really should be able to close out. Gaimin Gladiators will be a scary competitor in Lima. It is a team known for having some of the highest highs, but also some of the lowest lows. They have the ability to beat any team in the competition if all goes well, and are definitely looking towards a top 4 placement in this event. And if they can keep it on the straight and narrow, this might not even be the craziest idea ever. Tundra Esports. During TI, this team was simply unstoppable. They were by far the smartest team at the event and figured out exactly how they could manipulate the meta in their favor. But as time has passed, people have started to incorporate many of their ideas into their own play, allowing them to figure out exactly how to counteract them. And while still extremely strong, Tundra Esports is no longer looking to be the unstoppable powerhouse they were at TI. But if the team has developed some new strengths, it just might go all the way all over again. So if you want to see innovative strategies that tend to go slightly off the beaten path, this is your squad. Who knows what Heroes 9 is going to bring to the mid lane this time around? Is it finally time for that legendary mid Rubik? With so many great minds assembled in a single team, they will surely be doing well in Lima. But with the incredible competition present at this event, it is going to be very hard for them to come out of the event with the trophy itself. Entity Gaming. While Entity definitely enjoyed their time in the Sun half a year ago, they are no longer the scary new kids from the past, only slightly making it out of the incredibly competitive Western European region. However, they are definitely still a contender. It is hard to see them walk away from this event with a trophy. Last year, the team was built around enabling their Eastern European superstar, Pure. Having lost that player, they have now put their faith into another Eastern European prodigy, Watson. And while he has definitely done well on the team, they have not been able to reignite the spark from those few months before TI-11. Entity is a team that has the potential to once again find that edge and dominate the competition, but in all likelihood won't be able to do so at this event. Their playstyle often relies on grouping up early with big aura items and anchoring their fights around their damage-dealing hard carry. So if this is the kind of Dota you enjoy, definitely keep an eye out on this team. BetBoom Team. Every year, a new all-star team seems to show up in the world of Dota 2. Combining all of the most talented players that come out of Eastern Europe under a single banner, it was bound to lead to some amazing results. And so far, they haven't been disappointing at all. BetBoom is the team that you keep an eye on if you love to see individual talent. All of their players have the ability to outplay their opponents directly, in multiple ways, allowing them to often come out of the laning stage with an advantage. And with players of this caliber, mistakes are hard to find, so once they get this advantage, they're often able to ride it out into wins time and time again. The biggest risk for this team, however, is that their domination allows them to get overconfident. Because while they're obviously amazing players in their own right, it is only the best Dota teams in the world that are going to be present at the Lima Major. So, the big question is if they can maintain their dominance in the face of international competition. Team Spirit. With Toronto Tokyo making his way to that BetBoom All-Star squad, Team Spirit isn't exactly the same group of friends that won the 10th International a while ago. The team does have an eye for talent, however, as they picked up Laurel to be their new mid laner, a player that looked to come out of nowhere last season with some spectacular performance on the iteration of BetBoom in that time. Team Spirit is still looking like an incredibly strong team that can potentially win any match. In their home region, however, they never seem to be able to get past the incredible might of BetBoom. So the question is BetBoom just that good, or has Team Spirit lost their edge? Whatever placement their performance in Lima will lead towards, the team is definitely no pushover. They still have an incredibly fast playstyle, allowing them to turn the smallest advantages into wins consistently. Hellraisers. If you're looking for an underdog in Lima, Hellraisers is probably one of the first names you should think of. The team is clearly a tier below the rest of their Eastern European counterparts when it comes to their expected performances in the tournament. Combine this with reports of internal struggles making it so that the Hawk will not be going to the Major and instead will be taking Yoragi as a stand-in. You can likely see how it's going to be a struggle for the boys. However, the incredibly experienced Solo will be captaining them through the event, even though it might be a very uphill battle. Surviving the group stage would already be an impressive feat from them, but if they can somehow get their heads back together and focus on the game instead of each other, anything is possible. If you're all about hoping for miracles, this is probably your team to watch out for. PSG.LGD. For multiple years now, PSG.LGD was seen as the juggernaut of competitive Dota 2. They had some of the most talented players in the world, coached by the director himself, Xiao 8. All of this being supported by the most successful organization in Dota 2 history. But however successful they might have been, they've never actually won the biggest prize of them all, the International. And during the last International in Singapore, they simply couldn't even get close to their highs of the past. The PSG.LGD of today have lost the majority of the players that made them the juggernaut of back then. Without Ame, Xingqiu or Fabian, people predicted that the team would not even be able to get close to their former glory. However, the team has shown some impressive tenacity in the Chinese region in this recent DPC tour. Coming in a shared second place, the young talent they picked up has been putting up some great performances. Going into Lima, the team might even have the potential to compete for the top placements. So if you're a sucker for new talent being guided by one of the most legendary veterans in professional Dota 2, this is the squad to look out for. Team Aster. Always the bridesmaid, but never the bride. That is the fate that Team Aster had been bound to for quite a while. With PSG.LGD's dominance, they were often the second best Chinese team, performing well but being overshadowed by their bigger brother consistently. However, during TI11, this all changed, as they were the only non-European team to be able to break into the top 4. Afterwards, everything seemed to finally come together for the team, as they could finally take their place as the best team from China. And while the team has shown that they're still a massive threat, and should definitely be able to get a decent placement in Lima, PSG.LGD is not letting them go anytime soon. While they obviously want to compete on an international stage, their biggest goal will probably be placing themselves above their Chinese brothers. This is a team driven by rivalry, growing stronger based on their competition. Knights. A little Chinese surprise from this tour. Knights is a scary dark horse coming into the Lima Major, made up of talented players from teams that could never quite find their way to the top. Knights have shown in the recent tour that they are no pushovers. They are masters of using the map to their maximum potential, finding more resources than their opponents, and when they are behind, they can find the most surprising angles of attack to get themselves back on top. But while they are definitely scary, the team has had major consistency problems. Not having a coach or a lot of experience in the team itself can sometimes make them get ahead of themselves, drafting themselves weird lineups or overcommitting in fights, but sometimes cost them games against teams that they really shouldn't lose to. Knights is a team of outsiders that will surely be able to cause some upsets in Lima, but won't have the consistency to get that far into the tournament. They are a team to root for, however, if upsets are your jam. EHOME. Being the 4th slot team of a region that being seen as one that's on a downturn isn't going to earn you the greatest reputation, especially if you needed a tiebreaker to earn that spot in the first place. Carrying some of that C essence through their Malaysian members of MKS and Zhao Yu, who played for RSG before, this team still has major challenges ahead of them. EHOME is coming into this tournament needing to make some great leaps in performance if they want to compete. The team is looking chaotic and can often make questionable choices when it comes to map movements. And while their players definitely have the individual skill to go against their competition, it is not yet being angled into the right direction. If EHOME can somehow manage to find the magic on their road to Lima, there are definitely some possibilities. But the way it's looking right now, they probably won't be able to survive the group stage. But if you're looking for a Chinese team driven by SEA chaos, they could really use some of your love. Execration. At this point, it seems to happen every season. March joins a new SEA team to coach after TI, and this SEA team comes out of number 1 during the region's first tour. These teams, however, have not been able to keep up their performances and will often stall out further on into the season. This season is looking like that is the fate of Execration. But it did really well in SEA. Many of the games in the region have looked chaotic to say the least over the last tour. Game lengths were incredibly high on average, and every SEA team struggled with closing out games. Going into the Lima Major, Execration really needs to have another lesson with Marsh on how you actually win a game instead of just getting ahead. If they're able to internalize that lesson properly, they might be able to compete in the playoff stage. Otherwise, they will probably be stuck in the group stage forever. If you like being surprised by wild games though, Execration will definitely entertain you as a viewer. Geek Slate. Probably the biggest surprise coming into Lima. His team was never expected to qualify for this event. However, this is also probably exactly how far this team is going to go. Geek Slate has mainly been a vessel for Scam so far, to show that he's still one of the greatest players of the region. But the team he's bringing along aren't always able to execute his plans and to support his impressive carry play performances. if Geek Slate can shape up and mirror themselves this game, they might actually be able to surprise in Lima. But if their execution rate sticks at a 50-50 regarding the strategies, we will probably see them bomb out quickly. Still worth watching though, if you're a scam fan. Talon Esports. This squad should have all the ingredients to perform, but has yet to find out exactly how you mix those together. 23 Savage has shown time and time again that he is a carry who can compete with the best, but it often just doesn't seem to work out. If Execration and Geek Slate are already having a difficult time in Lima, amplify this a little and we're looking at Talon Esports. They definitely have potential, but in most cases the team has not been able to show that off at all. Talon Esports as a squad thrives on momentum. They can get into a winning mood. They might actually be able to showcase that potential. They might even be able to get some upsets going. However, they will probably be brought down quickly in one of their opening matches, causing the team to lack the confidence to win pretty much anything through the entire competition. So definitely take a look at their first games, and if those go out well, we might see more. Otherwise, probably don't hope too much in the long run for Talon Esports. TSM. They compete in the North American region, but this squad is almost as international as it gets. With 5 players that represent every region in competitive Dota except for China, and with a number 1 placement in North America, they could be a surprising contender in Lima. TSM is a wildcard team that can perform like a top team at some tournaments and flop incredibly hard during some other tournaments. If they can figure out something in the meta that others don't, they can actually stay consistent and exploit this advantage into impressive finishes. Right now, however, the team has momentum by managing to win over their biggest competitor in Shopify Rebellion. So if they can keep this momentum going, they might even be able to make a deep run into Lima. So if you want to see an international team that has innovative strategies, definitely keep an eye on them. Shopify Rebellion. A new organization, but most of us will still remember this team as evil geniuses. The core of this team is incredibly tight and has heaps of experiences. Fly has captained some of the most impressive teams in Dota 2 history. And don't forget, players like RTT and Crit are still just really good at this game. It is no surprise that people have high expectations of this team. And at this point, they are known for their consistent and proper way of playing Dota 2. They have so much experience that all of this theory has simply become muscle memory for them. And while this consistency might be their strength, it is also their greatest weakness. Critics have warned for their play to become stale, as a lack of new ideas prevents innovation. However, this new org and a new offlaner by the name of Saberlight might have given them exactly what they need for a rebirth that gets them back onto the top of the ladder. So, if you believe in the return of Sad Boys and the power of North America, watch this squad as closely as you can. Beast Coast. You can't say South America without saying Beast Coast. This is the event the squad has been working towards for years, as they have consistently been the best performing team in the South American region for years now, even causing upsets on the international stage more than once. But while the team has a home advantage and the region as a whole is on the rise, it is still hard to see the team walk away with a trophy in their hands in Lima. With no South American team ever having won an international LAN, it is always going to be a difficult road to glory. Beastcoast's playstyle relies on constant aggression and skirmishing before engaging into full-blown combat. It is a risky style, but allows for a lot of action while being a treat to the eyes. So with an entertaining playstyle, something to prove, and the home crowd behind them, this is definitely one of the teams to keep your eye on in Lima. Evil geniuses. No longer the carrier of the North American banner, EG has now become a South American squad instead. You might know them as Thunder Awaken, the squad that almost knocked out Team Liquid in Singapore, and over the last season have been the most successful team in South America. With an introduction like that, it is no surprise that there are high hopes for this team. Having exchanged 2 players with their SA brother beastcoast, both teams are looking stronger than ever. With the Peruvian crowd in Lima behind them, they just might be boosted to new heights. Similar to beastcoast, they love to skirmish. They also have one of the best carries in the world to close out their games. Pacaz is often regarded as the best player in South America right now, and might even be one of the best players in the entire world. So definitely keep your eyes peeled on this team and follow their journey, as they just might write South American Dota history during this event. With 18 teams present in Lima, and all of them trying to make it all the way, it is surely going to be a bloodbath in Lima. But in all honesty, isn't that exactly what we want to see for this first major of the season? Some amazing Dota and the best teams of the world giving it their all? So please let me know in the comments, what team are you going to keep a close eye on this major? And let's all enjoy some awesome Dota 2.